Welcome back, YouTubers, to another TNA Impact Wrestling review with us, the ever-excited British Fist.
Gotcha!
Mr. Parkin here, and you want to get your energy levels up, NJ? You know what to do.
What's up?
In case you haven't realised, NJ hasn't had Monster for quite some time, and subscribe above, like this video, comment your thoughts on this edition of Impact Wrestling down in the comment section below, almost like I've been drinking Monster for like the last year.
Make sure you contact us in the link in the box below.
Yes, indeed. So going into this edition of Impact Wrestling, NJ, we really wanted to... I think the problem right now is my excitement for Bound for Glory isn't as high as I really wanted it to be, so I wanted the show really to really make me feel like I really want to look forward to this Bound for Glory. I'm looking forward to it, but not immensely, which is how I should really feel going for Bound for Glory, to be honest.
Up to this point, and possibly by the end of this night, there was still quite a bit missing leading to the pay-per-view. And with this show and next week, we were really wanting more to come from them. Yeah, and
they seem to start filling in some of the gaps. They started off with the opener. You had Hogan come out to what was a pretty good reaction. As Hulk Hogan, you kind of expect that. He hypes up the TV title matches for later tonight, saying, "We will get a new TV title, brother."
And the way he spoke about this is that, in a way, he said that it was sad what's happened to Devon, but we have to keep the game moving, and how they were going to set these 4 wrestlers. The choices were pretty strongly done apart from Garrett, but I think the way that he hyped that up still gave TV title its importance, which he gave a while back, but didn't keep to his idea.
We'll go on to more of that when we get to it, I guess, NJ. He also got down to business with the pay-per-view Bound for Glory, made Rude and Storm a street fight with the... special guest enforcer, I should say, King Mo. It seems like they're going to try and bring him in like Ken Shamrock style, doesn't it?
When I heard adding an enforcer, especially to a match that's meant to be now finally about Storm, I was thinking the street fight, brilliant. Adding something else to that match, I think you're adding too much to a match that really weren't needed. You should have just kept it a street fight between the two. Exactly what the feud was from the whole year.
As much as I agree with that, I do feel if you're going to be bringing in a King Mo, who's apparently to TNA a big star, you need to find some way of getting him on really strongly. This could be it, but I do see what you mean, though. It does take away a little bit from the actual feud itself, but we'll see more about this next week. Apparently, King Mo is going to be there next week. This is going to be his big introduction to TNA, I imagine. Then I've Hogan talking about how he's going to the Aces and Eights Clubhouse, and out comes Sting, saying that, yeah, he's not spitting on Hogan. He's coming out to support Hogan in his fight against the Aces and Eights.
With all this slowly building up, you see that the people who are running stuff at the moment are getting more and more frustrated with the Aces and Eights, and they're all ganging up on what's later to come. I did enjoy their part of work together.
I mean, the opening segment, it lasted 10 minutes. It highlighted a lot of stuff, the TV title, getting a match announced on the pay-per-view, what was going to happen later on in the evening. So this opening segment seemed to accomplish a hell of a lot, even though it really only had Hulk Hogan in it.
And that's what it needs, because with the opener hyping up the rest of the show and the future of TNA going towards the pay-per-view, it was definitely needed. Worthless mortals, I invite you all to my clubhouse to step in with me and my boys.
We then have Kurt Angle versus Chavo Guerrero versus Christopher Daniels, coming up with their tag team partners, of course, in a three-way match. This is hyping up the tag title match going into Bound for Glory. I do wonder why, with Angle having the injury like he has, why he's still wrestling so much. I would have thought it would be a nice spot to just give him a rest and have AJ in this spot and wrestle, to be honest.
Well, we've still got one more show, so I expect next week we can get the other three missing wrestlers in next week. But for this match, I think with Kurt Angle not have done as much as maybe he should do, he's getting his part as a wrestler before the pay-per-view, so I thought this was pretty good.
After this, there are 2 more shows, up to October 14th, Bound for Glory. Basically, what happens is, we get to a point where all the tag teams are kind of facing off, and the referee gets rid of Anderson, Kaz, and Hernandez, and that allows Daniels to sneak up and get the pin, while Chavo and Angle are in some sort of mix-up. They're trying to tease tension between the 2 babyface teams and giving the heels a cheap win. Not bad.
Well, when they're giving the heels the win, I do like that idea, because it's making your tag champs look good. It's making Daniels to be able to pick up a win in other ways than just getting a clean win over the 2 faces. So in a way, this match went down pretty well.
Tara versus ODB was next. Wasn't very happy seeing EY again, but apparently this was a number one contendership match, kind of out of nowhere. I guess that's what happens when you put your hands on the GM's daughter.
And sadly, with ODB, I do want her to be the number one contenders, but not when she's the knockout tag champ, because you know, with her having that involvement, the match is not going to go down as well. But this match did put a smile on my face because it was something more better for ODB.
Yeah, I mean, it was funny how even the commentators called ODB and Eric Young out on the fact they haven't defended their knockouts tag titles yet, and I do wonder why ODB is getting a number one contendership shot. And the match itself, I mean, they made Tara look very weak. She had to fake an injury to win. I guess they're trying to get heel on her. It's just, I'd have thought that TNA would want to make her look a little bit stronger going into the pay-per-view now. She's facing Miss Teschmacher.
I think I know Tara is the importance here because the match is still going to happen. But ODB should still be seen as a bit of a good knockout. But it's just sad that she's wrapped up in the tag. But this match weren't the best. I wouldn't say it's one of the knockout matches I'd rush to want to see again, but it's giving Tara a match the end of the pay-per-view.
Seems like the TV title was vacant. Devon didn't sign a new contract, so it seems that Hogan only had to be in 2 of these segments tonight. He only had to eliminate 2 people. He eliminated on Championship Thursday, as they love to call it. Magnus was eliminated first because of the differences between Joe and Magnus, and then thank fuck Garrett Bischoff got eliminated in the second round, and it was Anderson versus Samoa Joe.
Well, that's the thing, because with Magnus, you do still predict there to be a possible feud going on with him. Garrett, you don't really care about, but leaving Anderson, a guy that I wanted to see better from in TNA, yes, he's probably not going to go much far from this. But Joe being the one that stands out as one of TNA's greats, actually going through this and winning this, it was definitely, in a way, predictable because you put your money on Joe a lot, but he was the right winner for the future of the championship.
And let's face it, with a guy like Samoa Joe at the helm, it's really going to do a lot for the credibility of the belt. I mean, Samoa Joe is a Triple Crown champion in TNA. He's a big star for the company, so him holding the TV, but hopefully, because we said this when Devon got the belt, but hopefully this will be a new lease of life for the TV title, and maybe they'll do a Joe versus Magnus feud for the TV title going into Bound for Glory, maybe?
Well, I think it would be sad if now Joe, when he goes on like he is, and they start to book him bad again or put him in stupid, boring feuds, it'll be sad because this will be like 2011 coming back again to 2013 when it comes. So I think when this goes on, if he does go on and beats Magnus or Magnus beats him, the feuds do get better for the TV championship.
And hopefully that will raise the elevation of the TV title to a mid-card belt, essentially. We had the gut check this week, the conclusion of the gut check. It was Evan Markoupoulos, the 18-year-old. And before we get to that, you had that little segment with Pritchard and Al Snow going at it and Pritchard saying that Al Snow's being unprofessional, hitting Joey Ryan, a guy who hasn't got a contract. I do wonder if they're going to have this match at Bound for Glory or what they're going to do with it, because they didn't have Joey Ryan on the show this week, which really surprised me with the gut check segment.
Well, we're getting closer and closer to Bound for Glory, and with this still being teased as a feud, I wouldn't be surprised if they do make it to the pay-per-view. And the back and forward between Al Snow and Pritchard, it's showing that they're trying to make this match seem more important than it is, trying to build it up by having Al Snow's team mentioning how Al Snow's acting. So I think they're trying to build this match up, and I think it's going pretty well.
Hopefully, it's getting the slow go right now. I just wonder if they're going to do it at Bound for Glory or further down the line. But then getting to the gut check segment itself, they touched on the important things, like they touched on his age, they touched on the fact that he had passion. I think the critical thing about Markoupoulos was his age. He is only 18. He does have a big future in the business. I mean, for a guy to be 18 and be on mainstream TV is a great achievement in itself. The judges didn't think that he was ready. 2 of them said no. Taz said yes. And I wouldn't be surprised if TNA put him back down in OVW, because it does seem like a guy like that does have a hell of a future in the company.
I think his name should not be crossed out. Yes, he got no's, but I think he's someone, compared to the ones we've been recently seeing, that's got yeses, or just has made it better than he has. I do look forward to seeing him again.
Yep.
Welcome to my Clubhouse, worthless mortals. As you can see, we're ready for anything. But if you think you're ready, step in here and we'll show you what we're all about.
So we've got this strange segment backstage before the gut check, NJ, when some girl comes in and pepper sprays Sting and Hogan in the faces after saying, Pritchard needs to sign some documents for you guys. And then we got the Aces and Eights taking them away in a car. And, you know, that led us on to the next segment of the night where we got some footage from the Aces and Eights keeping Sting and Hogan hostage. And it seemed like in this segment, finally, because they've been teasing it and teasing it and teasing it for some time, we got at least some direction as to what the Aces and Eights are going to do at Bound for Glory, which did need to happen with this. They did need to try and reveal a little bit more to what they were doing, really.
And the way they did this, especially the camera angles and all the thing going on between the Aces and Eights and Hogan and Sting, it was definitely verbally done. It was really building up to the Aces and Eights being the angry team and where they're going to go next. So I did think this had a lot of direction and a lot of heel heat, especially in the Aces and Eights as they attack the bosses.
Seems like we got a shot of the leader of the Aces and Eights from behind. It kind of looked like a Bischoff or Bully Ray. I'm not really sure, but basically what it comes down to is the Aces and Eights say, TNA, Sting and Hogan, you pick your two toughest guys, and we'll put them against our two toughest guys. And if Aces and Eights win, they get full access of the Impact Zone. But if TNA win, the Aces and Eights have to leave. Now it's interesting here how they kept Hogan in the dark by saying, you know, he's going to be watching. You're not going to be involved for the first time, Hogan. You're going to have to watch and see your guys suffer. And I thought that was a nice little addition to this segment, to be honest.
Well, that leaves us to ask us, number one, is Hogan involved within the Aces? Yes, he was attacked, but he's not actually been attacked recently. So I'm thinking maybe there's still a chance that Hogan or Sting could be involved. Or who are TNA's two strongest wrestlers or left that's not Bound for Glory?
I kind of think one of them will be Bully Ray, and they'll do an angle with Bully Ray and the Aces and Eights. I'm not really sure, but interesting to see who the leader looked like a Bischoff or a Bully Ray. He had the ears and he had the cap, and it looked like a Bischoff or a Bully Ray, in my opinion. But, I mean, we got some good direction here going to Bound for Glory. We now know there's going to be some big stakes on the line. If Aces and Eights win, they get full access of the Impact Zone, but if they lose to the two toughest TNA guys, they have to leave. So that's at least some good big stipulation to the Bound for Glory match, which we knew inevitably was going to come.
And with the heavy stipulation for this match, especially in the Aces and Eights, it definitely gives us what we've been waiting for. But I don't think the Aces and Eights are going to be going anytime soon. So my prediction straight away is that the Aces and Eights are going to pick up the win.
Yeah, I think so too. I think this storyline has gone on too long and they put too much effort into it to now just have it end at Bound for Glory. I really do. We then get to our main event of the evening. Aries and Hardy versus Bully Ray and a surprise opponent. I really felt they should have, number one, hyped this up in the opening segment with Hulk Hogan maybe mentioning this. I don't remember hearing him mention this. Number two, they should have left the surprise at Bobby Roode to the main event, so it had like some surprise to it, like who's Bully Ray's partner's going to be, blah, 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 blah. It's just, they announced it during the show, and I felt this could have been a nice surprise for this main event that really wasn't hyped up all that well, in my opinion.
Well, even though the guest may have been a bit predictable, Bully Ray and Bobby Roode have had a fallout in the past, so maybe it less likely made it the possibility. But it was still going to be a strong match because you're going to get Bobby Roode back in the ring with Aries. You're going to get Ray in the ring with Jeff. So there's so much going on in this match, which I think made it a pretty good main event. Yeah,
and the whole point of this main event really was to create collusion, because they need to create some collusion between Aries and Hardy, and that's exactly what they did in this match. They had Aries, you know, doesn't tag in Jeff Hardy and he tries to outsmart the heels by himself. He does the brainbuster on Bobby Roode, I believe it was, and then Hardy tags in, gets the pinfall for himself, meaning that Aries gets pissed off, and we kind of semi-end the show with that stare down between Aries and Hardy.
I think with that, they've had them tag teaming together, but there's still a feud going between those two, so they still thought, right, we'll have them show that they can work well together, but we still need to keep them teasing for feuds and matches and that.
Yeah.
The way they did this, Jeff Hardy being the clever one, the one that wanted to show that he's got the clever mind, he can win, all this. I think this match went down pretty well. Yes, it wasn't the strongest main event from the Bobby Roode side, but I did think that this ended pretty well.
Yeah, I mean, the match was your typical 14-minute TNA Impact Wrestling main event. You notice how also Jeff Hardy was getting some really great reactions from the crowd, and they're trying to work this whole thing where they know Hardy is more over than Aries, and they can kind of use that in their storyline because Aries wants to try and outdo Jeff Hardy. So I felt this segment at least did a little bit more. They've got 2 more shows left to do. It did a little bit more to tease the tension between Aries and Jeff Hardy by what they did. So it's like a double babyface thing. They're teasing Aries as this like tweener, which is the best way to go in my opinion. I still think Hardy's going to win at the pay-per-view.
I'm still sticking with Aries, but this is definitely, for the next 2 weeks, I'm expecting more to happen.
Yeah, and we didn't end the show there, guys. We ended the show with Aces and Eights bringing Sting and Hulk Hogan back to the Impact Zone. That's how we ended the show. We didn't end the show with the Welterweight Champion and the number 1 contender. Sting and Hogan back in the Impact Zone now. They're going to have to find their 2 toughest guys. I think one of them will be Bully Ray. Who do you think the other guy might be? You have any ideas?
I don't really know, because they've not really left anyone open apart from Anderson. But he's not really a tough guy, but he's still left open. And also the fact they used a knife to bring us, they've used a screwdriver with Daniels and now using a knife with the Ace and Eight. This was very threatening, and the way that they had the Ace and Eights had power over the bosses really made this the night, shall we say, of the Ace and Eights involvement really strong indeed. And I do look forward to the progression of these next 2 weeks to give us the overall match at the pay-per-view.
Notice how TNA stole our hostage storyline from the NXT review. Someone's been watching my NXT reviews, NJ. This says do a hostage storyline. Anyway, well, that will continue in the NXT review this week. But yeah. So, what were your overall thoughts on this show? This third show before Bound for Glory for TNA.
Pretty strongly done. It was needed in some ways, but they still got like this week and 2 other weeks. So I think they've still got time to make it even stronger. But I think they've done a good start, even though it could have been done a little bit earlier with more direction. But I was really satisfied, especially with the Ace and Eight stuff.
The Ace and Eight stuff was done very well. We needed more of a reveal, and we needed more direction to Bound for Glory, and we got that. We've got we got about 6 matches now going into Bound for Glory. They tease more tension between Aries and Hardy. Bobby Roode versus James Storm has now been announced. So yeah, I mean, this was it wasn't like the strongest show. I don't think. I still think they need to pump up the Bound for Glory hype a little bit more. But a good show to get us going on the last 2 shows to Bound for Glory. It's still want to know what the next 2 matches are. Still no X Division though, which is a little bit disappointing.
They are still delaying that a bit, but I think with so much things dominating, it's been a bit delayed. So I have a feeling we've only got 2 weeks left. It may be a throw-in match.
I think it will be too, with the 3 big matches getting as much concentration as they are. It may just be a throw-in match. But anyway, leave us your thoughts on this edition of TNA Impact Wrestling down in the comment section below, as you always do. And now I will hand you over to NJ to do the outro.
For Mr. Parkin, and me, NJ, and Terminator NJ. Till next time, YouTubers, thank you very much. Hopefully you enjoyed this show. Please share your thoughts in the comments below. And till next time, YouTubers, goodbye.